Rehahn, a French photographer, is no longer a strange name for many Vietnamese people. Living the busy life in France, he has traveled the Southeast Asian countries, including Vietnam, in 2007. There, he took many beautiful pictures to introduce and promote the image of Vietnam. He had surprised the international circle of photography when taking photo of the most beautiful lady in the world, which was published in many prestigious travel sites worldwide. When living in Vietnam, Rehahn made some important decisions to pursue his photography dream. He roamed around the length of Vietnam with motorbike to capture 50,000 impressive pictures of Vietnamese people, culture, and majestic sceneries. After the publication of the book Mosaic of Contrasts in 2014, Rehahn has decided to make a trip in 2015 to experience the mountainous provinces in the northern region and the Central Highlands. These dramatic pictures are the true stories that Rehahn wanted to tell about the life of the local people. The outcomes of those days was collected in the new book, The Mosaic of Contrasts 2. After this sharing of Rehahn in the last Sharing Vietnam program about Vietnamese smile, we will welcome him back to our program to share more about his experiences in 2015 in Vietnam.
Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam on VTC10 Netviet among Nhật. So in the first clip, we have known the trip of Mr. Rehahn to the northern mountainous areas of Vietnam. Right now, we have a talk to Rehahn and welcome back to Sharing Vietnam to find out more about his trip and the new features of the photo album published in 2015. Thank you, Mr. Rehahn, for joining our program today. Well, so first of all, as in the first clip, I will see that you have published a new book, Vietnam Mosaic of Contrast, Volume Number 2, in 2015. With another trip to the northern mountainous areas of Vietnam. Can you share more about this? I'm very curious.
Well, actually, it was in September last year. I wanted to explore and a little bit more the north of Vietnam, and I wanted to meet again some of my subjects. You know, I used to do that since 4 years. I also gave the book to my first model in Sabah and Bagha and the area, and that's an interesting meeting because people, they recognize me and I bring and I give a photo, they're so happy, so I can take more photos. I've made the first book, Vietnam Mosaic of Contrast, as a newcomer in Vietnam. Like, I just arrived in Vietnam, I want to see the easy place to go. And the second volume is I went much deeper in the country. Yes. So I went to very, very far north of the country, and I wanted to make this second book like a second invitation to visit Vietnam.
So why did you choose the provinces in the northern areas of Vietnam? Do you love this area or you haven't been there before?
Often people ask me why I go to the north, but there's more than 50 ethnic groups in Vietnam, and only 10 out of the 50 still wear the traditional costume, and they are almost all in the north. I know that in the very near future they will not wear anymore this costume. So I want to give more importance to them now before this culture completely disappears. So I think I should go in this area first, and of course later. It doesn't mean I don't like the other place, but it was a big trip last year, 12 or 15 days in the north, but it's also one full year in the Central Island, exploring Buôn Ma Thuột, Kon Tum, and all this area.
Right. So through all the pictures that you've took, I can see that you love taking the photos of the ethnic minorities of Vietnam and the poor people. What is your idea here?
Actually, I don't choose the people because they are poor or not poor. I just my purpose is to introduce the ethnic people to the world, okay, and also to the Vietnamese people, because I've seen that since I have 300,000 fans on Facebook, people are writing me all the time. Many Vietnamese from Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, or all over Vietnam. They say, "Oh, thanks, because you make me discover my country. I didn't know this place. You know more than me now, and I'm very thank you." And I would like to promote and also to save this culture. I would like to make the travel agencies and people who work with tourism wake up and see that your country have so many beautiful things to show, not only 5 or 6 cities and beautiful landscape and waterfall. I'd like to say that it's a second invitation to come back to Vietnam and see more things.
Okay, so how about the comments of the local and international photographers towards your pictures of Vietnam people? How did they know more about Vietnam through your photos?
I have so many messages every day, people telling me, "Rehahn, I'm coming to Vietnam because of your photos. I didn't plan to come to Vietnam, but when I see that, you convince me." So it happens almost every day, from Portugal, from Brazil, from Australia, from all over the world. People come to my gallery. Every day I meet photographer and they asking, they say, "Your photos are amazing and we want to see Vietnam like you see Vietnam. So tell us where to go." Last year I had almost 10 exhibitions in Cuba, in Canada, in Belgium, in France, and Poland, and everywhere I introduce Vietnam. Everywhere it's photos of Vietnam, and I'm talking about Vietnam. When I was in Toronto, I had maybe 100 people, and the people say, "Oh, I want to come, and give me your email, and when I come, I contact you, and you give me some tips." So I think it's a big promotion, I think.
Vietnam Mosaic of Contrast 2 is a compilation of 150 best photos of Rehahn. This is a diary that Rehahn loved to share what he has encountered during his road trip around Vietnam. People will see the beauty of Vietnam through a very different angle. The children with such pure and innocent face, the elders with their wrinkled faces, rough hands, are what Rehahn wants everyone to see his different view of Vietnam, compared with the other photographers. Rehahn wants his viewers to discover a Vietnam with many forgotten heritage and culture. It is the reason why he chooses to travel the most secluded mountains and villages for his photo shootings. Recently, the pictures of the book were published in the prestigious international magazine Board Panda, specializing in impressive artworks. When describing Vietnam, Board Panda said this country became one of the most popular tourist destinations over the last decade, with friendly people, pristine sceneries, and hidden charms. From the spectacular mountains to green terrace, Rehahn brings the hidden beauty of Vietnam to viewers. After the long trip, Rehahn would like to sit back and chat with friends to search new inspiration for his works. Rehahn also shares that he would spend all his life to take photographs of Vietnam. Currently, he has done only a small part of his voyage to discover Vietnam. Rehahn aroused a great story about a French guy who loved photography and know how to ignite his passion at the right time to become a famous artist and succeed in life. Looking at the pictures of Vietnam through his perspective, many people would want to stay here forever. Thereby, they also feel his love for Vietnam.
Welcome back to our talk today. Some people say that taking photos of the people in a country is the way to share and express your love toward that country. Do you agree with this?
If one day, and I think it will not happen, but if one day I can't love Vietnam anymore, I will leave because I will not be a good photographer. I think you should love the model before taking your photos. Love the model more than yourself, actually. I hope, and people tell me that every day. They say, oh, when we see your photos, the smile of the old ladies, we really feel that you love them, you know. So it's a good compliment.
Okay, so having been traveling to many countries around the world, what are the special features of Vietnam that made you decide to stay here and continue your career of photography and even introduce the Vietnamese culture and people to other people around the world?
Actually, I feel free here. So when I say that to the Western people, they're always very surprised. I say, you feel free in Vietnam? I say, yes, I feel more free in Vietnam than in France. I feel here everything is possible. Imagine when you wake up every morning and you cross the rice field on a motorbike, you feel freedom, and people are saying hello and smile, and all my neighbors say hello. If I have something, I need something, they will help me. That's very feng shui, you know. And I didn't choose Vietnam for photography. I chose Vietnam for the lifestyle, more for my daily life, more for the freedom. Actually, maybe the most important reason is I feel free here. I can open a gallery, sell my photos, I can meet people, I can go whenever I want. I don't have a boss waiting for me.
After all, if you got to choose 3 words to describe Vietnam, what are those and why?
The smile, the first, I think. The freedom. There's another word. A word I really like is the bliss. You know, bliss. Here, everything is possible. So it's like the Vietnamese dream. You always talk about American dream, but me, I don't talk about the Vietnamese dream. So I think there's so many opportunities in Vietnam, not only for business but for living. Many things to do. For an artist, it's easy.
Last but not least, can you share more about your plan in Vietnam? Is this going to be another photo album or a filming project?
It will be. I really want to continue about my book, the Vietnam Mosaic of Contrast. I have a few books coming out probably next year and maybe this year. I'm preparing a book about the hidden smile, about the smile of the Vietnamese, and I want to show that the smile in Vietnam can have different meanings. And I want to show the world how Vietnamese use the smile to say thank you, to say hello, and to be friendly, and how the smile is a part of their daily life. For the next 2 years, I'm preparing another book, Vietnam Mosaic of Contrast Volume 3, and it will be more about the city lives, more about the street photography, and a little bit more about the south of Vietnam too. But I want to shoot, for example, in Hanoi. I think I almost never shoot in Hanoi before, a little bit, but not so much. And I want to shoot, I want to take photos of Hanoi at different season, maybe at the 4th season, and to see the different colors, because Hanoi is very colorful, and
yes.
and it's very different than Ho Chi Minh. So I want to show that in the book. And another project I have, it's to write something to make a nice book about the coffee culture. I'm always feel amazed by the culture of the coffee in Vietnam, and so probably from the leaves and the beans of Vietnam and to the small little shop, the little coffee shop in the big cities. So I want to follow the road of the coffee and see how the coffee become a big culture in your country. So that's my plan for the next 2 years.
Thank you so much for sharing. And that is also the end of our program Sharing Vietnam. In our program today, we had a talk to Mr. Rehahn and find out more about his love toward Vietnamese people and culture. And if you are interested in his photos, let's take a look at Rehahn on the social networks. And somehow you're going to find new angles of Vietnamese people and culture through his photos. For comments and feedbacks, please send it to sharingvietnam@netviet.net. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.